In this episode of Scullywag Monster ID, we're going to identify the Beast of Tenby. Dr. Rex here, welcome to the Scullywag Lab where I break down the bare bones basics of skull science, but today, we're going to identify another monster. The Beast of Tenby was the name of an animal carcass that washed up on a beach in Wales in 2013. Now the guy that discovered it described it as having the head of a horse, the body of a pig, and the claws of a bear. Very weird looking indeed. People have suggested it might be the body of a sea lion, a bear, a wild boar, a horse, a pig, a hippo.
What?
But the most common suggestions are a dog or maybe a badger. Now, when somebody asks an expert to ID some remains, that expert will typically ask for 3 key pieces of information. They want locality because this gives an idea of the species that are found close to the region. In this case, we have Wales in the UK. They want some indication of scale, as in how large the carcass is, and this is because some species are distinguishable by size. And according to these articles, this carcass was roughly the size of a large dog. And finally, they need images of as much of the skeletal parts as possible. Here we have only one photo, but we can see some of the front teeth. We also have some paw morphology in there. So let's work this out. Now there's not a whole lot of diversity of dog-sized mammals in the UK, so this shouldn't be too hard. We can see from the anterior dentition that the carcass has 6 incisors and 2 canines at the top and the bottom. This dental formula is seen in carnivorans, but also in pigs and horses. We know it's not a pig though because pigs have canines positioned further behind the incisor arcade, and pig canines tend to be flared and large, sometimes growing into tusks in many species. Plus, pigs have trotters, not claws like what we see here. The same number of teeth are also in horses, but horse canines are a lot smaller, and horses are also much bigger than a large dog. And they also have hooves. So we know the carcass is almost certainly a carnivoran. And given the lack of flippers, we know it's a terrestrial carnivoran, not a seal. Across Great Britain, there are 8 terrestrial carnivores native to the region. That's the wildcat, red fox, European otter, European badger, European pine marten, stoat, weasel, and European polecat. And there's obviously also going to be some domestic dogs and cats in the area as well. Now firstly, let's immediately rule out all of those species that couldn't possibly reach the size of a large dog, even after bloating. I'm going conservatively here, allowing for species that can grow to around 10 kilos or 22 pounds, because bloating can certainly add the appearance of a few additional pounds around the midsection. And if you think cats can't get that big, you need to visit the Australian outback sometime. This removes the small mustelids like the pine marten, the stoat, the weasel, and the European polecat. So what we're left with is the cat, the fox, the otter, the badger, and the dog. Now, let's take a look at the forepaws. The Beast of Tenby has a very distinctive set of 5 large, well-developed claws. These claws lack the curvature of cat claws and don't appear to be retractable like what we see in cats. Otters are out because they have much shorter claws with thick webbing that separates the toes and the claws more. And canids, like foxes and dogs, are out as well because they don't have 5 claws like this. They have 4 claws and a small dew claw further up the forearm. And that is a feature of cats as well. So that leaves us with the European badger as the most likely identity of the Beast of Tenby. And that makes sense given the coloration of the remaining fur that you can see on the carcass. So that's it. Wait. If it was a badger, how does it have this long horse-like face then? I mean, badger skulls aren't anywhere near as long as what we see in the images. Well, that's because what looks to be the face might not actually be the face in this case. The skin appears to have dried out and been pulled backwards as it shrunk. This happens a lot in washed up carcasses. So the orbits, where the eyes sit in the skull, are actually positioned around here, which means the eyes of the skin are probably underneath this mass here, and what looks like the eye in this carcass is in fact the ear. Thanks for visiting the lab once again, and I'll catch you in the next video.